Now, this is going to be a big week in terms of Windows PCs. We know the Windows Copilot Plus PCs are going to be in users' hands, and I have some coming to the studio tomorrow, so stay tuned. I'll have a lot of coverage on that. But there are some questions, especially when it comes to certain types of activities or certain types of tasks like gaming and stuff like that that still need to be answered. They don't have any discrete GPUs, so we still need gaming laptops like the one we're going to look at here today, because it has the CPU GPU combination to get those playable frame rates, especially on those popular titles, the AAA titles. It's the Gigabyte AORUS 16X here for 2024. It's got an RTX 4070 discrete GPU, and that's the key thing here to get really good gaming here, and we saw good numbers there. We'll take a look at all that in this review. It's got a nice display, QHD plus resolution, 165 hertz refresh rate, advanced Optimus, and G-Sync support. So all your gamers out there, we got you covered here. It's got a really nice keyboard and overall good build. There's a lot to like here, and especially the price. We're gonna get into that and more in this review. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my review of the Gigabyte AORUS 16X here for 2024. Coming up. Now, before we get to the unit itself, I just want to let everyone know, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Gigabyte. I'm not being sponsored by Gigabyte. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Gigabyte is not getting copy approval. That means they're seeing this video for the first time, just like you. Now, this unit is on loan from Gigabyte, and once this review is done, I'll be sending it back. Now, when it comes to pricing, it's actually pretty good considering what you're getting here as far as CPU, GPU, the nice display. Comes in at $1,649 over at Amazon. For those interested, I will leave a link in the description below for more information where you can buy them. And considering if you're looking at something like the Asus ROG Zephyrus G16, that's going to be several $100s more. Although you are getting certain high-end features you're not getting here, you still are getting very good performance here, comparable performance in a lot of ways, sometimes even better, as I'll show you in this review. Again, for those interested in buying one, check out the link in the description below. You know the drill, folks. Let's get this out of the box. So pretty nice packaging right off the bat. And then here's the unit. A little bit of heft on this, that's for sure. Put that to the side, and then we get some documentation here. Let's take a look at this, see what we get here. We get some startup guide, warranty card, yada, yada, yada. We know the drill on these. We've seen this kind of stuff before. You get a 240 watt power charger that uses a barrel pin connection. All right, let's put that there. And here is the unit itself, and it's like a bluish gray kind of color. It's actually really nice. You got your AORUS logo there. Pretty nice. It says AORUS over here. So pretty nice looking so far. Build seems pretty good. A little flex on the lid. Nothing to be too concerned about, but seems like it's metal on the lid here. Pretty nice so far. Let's do the useless test of the day. Yes, you can open it with one finger. Let's see if there's any screen flex. Not really. Pretty solid. Hinge seems pretty good, actually. A little bit of screen wobble there, though. You notice it there a little bit. Nothing to be concerned about. Here's the keyboard, and you can take a look at it here. So this, of course, is the keyboard on it, and these keys are highlighted here. You can see the Q, W, E, R, ASD keys. It's good for gamers, of course. Touchpad seems like it's a diving board style touchpad, so seems pretty good. Again, I'll have to test all that out. The design seems pretty nice for a gaming laptop. I would say pretty good overall. I actually like the keyboard better than I thought I would going into this. The tactility, the key travel were decent. The overall tactility, I would say, is okay. I would say I've had better experiences on other more expensive laptops, but I would say for a gaming laptop, it's actually not too bad. Now, as far as the RGB backlighting, it's actually working out pretty well. You'll notice that it has the highlighted keys that allows you to use it, of course, to identify those keys easier when playing games, so that certainly helps out. Of course, all this is customizable within the settings, of course, so you have a lot of control as the user. I would say overall pretty good key travel here. Is like I said, to type out long documents, emails, and the like. When you're not gaming, you need to type out a document. This certainly can get the job done. I would say I'm not the biggest fan of a gaming keyboard in general, but this certainly does a good job here. I've had no complaints. Now, as far as the touchpad, I thought it's actually pretty responsive. It's not, haptic or anything like that. A mechanical style touchpad, diving board style, and I thought scrolling and doing all the gestures work as you'd expect, and it has a nice size to it as well, proportional to this 16-inch gaming laptop. So overall, pretty good there on the touchpad. Okay, let's check out the port selection. On the left side is your DC in port. That's where you'll charge this laptop. You get an RJ45 Ethernet port. You get an HDMI 2.1 port, a Type A port, USB 3.2 Gen 2, a USB Type-C Thunderbolt 4 port that is full function. And on the right side, you get a Type A port, USB 3.2 Gen 2, a Type-C port, USB 3.2 Gen 2, a micro SD card reader, and a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack to round out the ports on this unit. I would say all in all, a pretty good port selection here. I would like a full-size SD card reader over a micro SD card, being a content creator, but because this is a gaming laptop, I'm not going to ding them too hard on that. I think the overall port selection is pretty good here. Now, one thing I want to point out is a design flaw here. You'll notice here that the power supply with the barrel pin connection here doesn't sit flush with the unit into that DC in input. And as you can see, it sticks out where if you bump it, you might break off the tip. So that's a design flaw that they'll have to address in the next iteration. I don't think there's anything they can do now. Maybe they'll give us a different power supply. I don't know, but I wanted to point that out. Not a huge deal, but something you need to be aware of, especially if you do knock things around and you don't want to break that off. I just wanted to make you aware of that. And I also love the fact that there are LED indicator lights on the front of the unit. That's always handy. Not something we normally see too often here in 2024. Good to see those LED indicator lights. So internally, you can see here it does have a 99.2 watt-hour battery. We'll get into the battery life later on in this review. And you'll notice something we don't see very often at all here in 2024, and that's upgradable RAM by the user. There are 2 SODIMM slots here, and that is certainly a welcome sight. We're not used to seeing that. And it is running in dual channel mode, running at the 5600 megahertz speed here. Not going to be as fast as if it were soldered in. That is one consequence of soldered RAM, but here it is upgradable by the user, so you do have that option. I like that. And again, 32 gigabytes here, working very fine. And I love the fact that you have 2 SSD slots, one of which has a terabyte of storage here in my review unit. And as you can see from the reads and writes, certainly fast enough for what you need this laptop to do. There's no doubt about it. And I'm happy to see a Wi-Fi 7 Bluetooth combo card here, meaning it is future-proof. A lot of the laptops we're seeing is still shipping with Wi-Fi 6E. We have Wi-Fi 7 here, which is always welcome. And as far as the actual speeds of the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth, both working flawlessly, no issues with either one. Now, when it comes to the display, Gigabyte put a pretty nice display on here. It's an IPS display. It's not OLED or anything like that, but you don't get any PWMs, no screen flickering that I detected on it, so that's good. It's a 16:10 aspect ratio. It's a 16-inch display, 2560 by 1600 or QHD plus resolution, and I measured 505 nits of peak brightness on here, so pretty nice when it comes to the brightness overall. It's a matte display. You don't get unnecessary glare or reflection. That's really good if you want to get work done on this gaming laptop, or when you're gaming, you don't get that distraction, of course. So that's been pretty good. Now, it does have 165 hertz in terms of the refresh rate, so that's good, but that will eat into the battery life. I suggest lowering the refresh rate if you want more longevity on battery. But when you're playing a game, of course, you want that very smooth, fluid experience that 165 hertz can give you. Now, it also supports G-Sync, which is always welcome, especially on a gaming laptop. It's also an HDR display, so watching high dynamic range content on this has been excellent, especially for YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, and the like. Now, of course, this display is really geared towards gamers, but you can also get work done on here. You can even do content creation. The coverage of the color gamut is actually pretty decent, although I've seen better on other laptops that are more geared towards content creators. But if you need to edit a video, this certainly will get the job done. It's also pretty color accurate for a gaming laptop. That's not something we normally see, and we get it here. So that's been pretty good. And my overall takeaway is the fact that it gets bright, it has G-Sync support, has that high refresh rate, and it won't break the bank at this price point. I think we got a winner here in terms of the panel, at least in my opinion. So this is the camera on the Gigabyte AORUS 16X here for 2024, a 1080p camera. It's an IR camera, allowing you to log in with face recognition with Windows Hello. Always welcome on a gaming laptop. That's great. There's no fingerprint scanner that I could find here, so it is just relying on the IR camera for logging in if you want to use biometrics. And then as far as the camera itself, what do you think about the video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? Let me know in the comments section below. Okay, let's talk about performance. And the Gigabyte AORUS 16X is running Intel's Core i7-14650HX, of course, a 14th gen processor here for 2024. It also has the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 discrete GPU, which is fed 140 watts of power. As you can see, if you look at it compared to the Asus ROG Zephyrus G16, better single core, better multi-core on the AORUS 16X, but that, of course, has better GPU performance on the ROG Zephyrus G16 because that one has a RTX 4090 as opposed to the 4070. So you will see a difference in the graphics on that one. But of course, you're spending a lot more money on that one. So just keep that in mind. And when I ran the Cinebench 2024, we saw a very good single core, very good multi-core, and very good GPU performance. And again, we're seeing better GPU performance on that RTX 4090. Not a big surprise here on that ROG Zephyrus G16. But here on the AORUS 16X, I got to get these namings right. Very good numbers. The multi-core is still better on the Gigabyte over the Asus model, and that's pretty interesting. And that's why you're going to see better graphics numbers, especially when we ran the 3D Mark benchmarks here on the ROG Zephyrus G16 with its RTX 4090. You're looking at a better time spy score and a better Firestrike score. With that being said, the results from the AORUS 16X were excellent for gaming. So if you're going to do any graphics work in rendering 3D for stuff or gaming and stuff like that, this is very capable. There's no doubt about it. And it is a gaming laptop first and foremost. And as you can see, you can play AAA titles on the highest settings in a lot of cases, but you definitely can get some very playable frame rates thanks to this good CPU-GPU combination you have on the AORUS 16X. And when I ran the Time Spy stress test to see if this will thermal throttle under heavy load, it got a passing score of 99.4%, meaning it detected virtually no thermal throttling under load. That's excellent. And when I checked the surface temperatures under heavy load, notice that it was staying very cool, never getting above 46, 47 degrees Celsius above the keyboard below the display where the heating vents are. That's normal, right? But where you place your fingers on the keyboard stayed very cool. And there's a reason for that. The thermals here are very good. It's got the fans going. And speaking of the fans, you will have to contend with fan noise, especially if you're in the turbo mode, which can get very loud, of course, reaching over 60 decibels in maximum load here, and they will be going full force. You will have to contend with it. Sounds like a jet airplane taking off, to be honest. But I don't think you necessarily need to run this in turbo mode. You can run it in the performance mode. It'll be less in terms of the fan noise. And when you're in the normal modes, doing everyday tasks, there really was not much of an issue in terms of the fan noise. But if you're going to be playing AAA titles on their fullest settings, you will contend with that fan noise, especially in that turbo mode. So just keep that in mind. Now, this laptop has a huge 99.2 watt-hour battery. That's a little less than the legal limit, 100 watts to take on an airplane. Very impressive now. I like that. Now, it did well on the PC Mark 10 Modern Office test, 8 hours and 4 minutes, especially for a gaming laptop. That's not bad. 9 hours and 8 minutes on a video playback test, and 1 hour and 41 minutes on the gaming test. Not too bad with brightness set to 40%. Now, keep in mind, I did run it with the 165 hertz enabled, the high refresh rate. You can expect better battery life if you lower the refresh rate, and of course you can do that in the display settings. Now, one thing you will have to keep in mind, everybody's use case is a little bit different, so your mileage may vary. So just please keep that in mind. So the Gigabyte AORUS 16X here has Dolby Atmos speakers. There are two 2-watt speakers, and the Dolby Atmos certainly helps with the spatial audio. I thought the overall sound is okay. I've heard better. The one we saw on the Asus ROG Zephyrus G16, probably the best as far as a gaming laptop in general. It has been some of the best speakers I've heard on any laptop, including MacBooks. It's really that good. I did a video on that. I'll leave a link for those that didn't see it in the description below. But as far as these speakers, I think they could use a little bit more bass, but overall, not too bad. But I want you to be the judge. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, let's give it a listen. Okay, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the Gigabyte AORUS 16X here for 2024? And I gotta say, it's a powerful, well-equipped laptop for gamers and even creators, which doesn't seem to have any major issues here or major flaws. And I would say for the price, you're getting a lot of bang for the buck. And that's something I really like. I like its bright QHD Plus display. I like the fact that you're getting the advanced Optimus, the 2 SSD slots. I like the fact that the RAM is exchangeable, serviceable, and upgradable, whatever you want to call it. Something that's a rarity nowadays. You get that fast memory card reader here. You also get Wi-Fi 7, which I obviously love. It's more future-proof. You get Thunderbolt 4 support, and you get pretty decent battery life, especially for a gaming laptop. That's not something we say every day, that's for sure. The negatives, it does have some really loud fan noise, as I showed you, and it really will come on sometimes even when you're idling, but that's not always the case. It just depends on what you're doing, but you'll have to contend with that fan noise. But for $1,650 over at Amazon, I think you're getting a lot for the money. And here in 2024, that's important. We want to stretch the dollar as far as we can. You're getting a nice display, you're getting good battery life, good performance, and overall solid build, which I gotta say surprised the heck out of me. Overall, a really nice buy here for 2024, especially if you're in the 16-inch gaming laptop category looking for something good. I highly recommend this one. It's really good. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. And don't forget to check out my website, amdtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.